Hello, welcome to another episode of Tea from the Galaxy, a thirst-quenching podcast for the girls, gays, theys, and astrology baes, where we talk about anything and everything through an astrological lens. So today we have the June 2026 horoscope. There's a lot to cover if you're watching the video version of this right now. Look how much we have to cover this month. I like to start off the horoscopes by giving a little breakdown of what the transits are on the first of the month walking into this month. Like, what is the energy starting this month off, So let's look into that. On June 1st, the sun will be in Gemini at 11 degrees. The moon in Sagittarius. Mercury just enters Cancer on June 1st. Venus in Cancer, Mars in Taurus at 10 degrees. Jupiter in Cancer at 24 degrees. Saturn in Aries at 12 degrees, Uranus in Gemini at 2 degrees, Neptune in Aries at 4 degrees, and Pluto in Aquarius at 5 degrees retrograde. The North Node is also in Pisces at 3 degrees. That is the vibe. A lot of Cancer energy, some Taurus energy in there, a lot of Cancer energy happening now, and Saturn and Neptune being in Aries. Anytime there's a lot of Cancer energy, Libra energy, Capricorn energy, it's going to make harsh aspects to the outer planets in Aries now. So let's give a little breakdown of what that's going to look like and feel like for the collective. So on June 1st, Mercury enters Cancer. So this is a little bit more of an introverted energy. Mercury in Gemini is definitely way more extroverted, way more social, way more curious. It's giving ADHD. You might have picked up a hobby, made a new friend, went out a lot. And now Mercury moving into Cancer is like, all right, let me hermit out a little bit. Like, I've been doing too much. Let me just calm my thoughts down. Let me just focus on other things like my living situation, family life, my people, my comforts, building a future, things of that sort of nature, versus last month was a little bit more unfocused, a little bit more sporadic. It was fun. It was extroverted. Now Mercury's going to be in Cancer and it's going to be like, let me focus on my own self instead of focusing on everybody else, everything else, doing everything, trying to do everything else. Let me just come back to myself. Let me focus on the foundations. So Mercury will be in Cancer for actually all of this month, because later in the month, Mercury does station retrograde in Cancer. Get used to this energy, all right? Mercury's going to be in Cancer all of this month. And then all of July, Mercury doesn't move into Leo until August 9th. This is the summertime mood. And no wonder why Drake just dropped 3 albums. We gonna be a little bit in our feels this summer. Summertime sadness. Someone get the Lana Del Rey playlist on right now, all right? Mercury in Cancer is definitely taking a little bit more things personal. It's emotional conversations, emotional way of thinking, nostalgic thinking too. Thinking a lot about the past, thinking a lot about our childhood, thinking a lot about our upbringing. And at the same time, thinking a lot about our future could also bring a lot of stuff up about childhood and stuff like that. A lot of thinking about the home, a lot of thinking about what is a home to me, what is a family to me. A lot of conversations with family members, a lot of conversations about family, a lot of conversations about, just comforts of life. These are things that Cancer rules. It is our home life, our living situation, our relationship with our family, especially our mother, relationships with feminine figures in our lives, things that comfort us. So these are a lot of the topics that are going to be brought up over the next literally 2 months. Later in the video, I'll talk about how the Mercury retrograde is going to also affect this transit as well. But this is a little bit of an emotional transits, a lot of emotional conversations, a lot of feelings are going to be hurt, because Mercury in Cancer is like, ow, I'm taking everything offensively. Like, why'd you say that to me? I would have never said that to you. Or on the other end, on the complete opposite side of Cancer, it's saying things that are really freaking mean because you're pushing me to the edge and you're pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. Now I'm gonna get really fucking mean, and these conversations are gonna get mean and heated. And then just emotional, heightened emotions. So it brings all types of 0 to 100 in every type of way. I can definitely see a lot of emotional conversations being had over the next couple months. And I think this is needed as well, too. There's a reason that Mercury is going retrograde in this sign. So it could also bring back, like what I said, a lot of nostalgia, but a lot of maybe fixing things around the house too, needing to tweak things around the house, needing to fix things with family members too. So I'll definitely mention that later in this horoscope. Immediately, a couple of days later, Mercury is in Cancer and it squares Neptune in Aries. So this is like a Mercury retrograde feeling right before the Mercury retrograde, because anytime there's a Mercury square Neptune aspect, I always say it's giving Mercury retrograde vibes. And that's because Neptune is a planet that brings a lot of delusions, illusions. It's the rose-colored glasses. It's not seeing things clearly. And then with the harsh square to Mercury, it's now, am I not seeing things clearly? I'm also not hearing things clearly. We're not having a clear conversation. You hear one thing, I hear one thing. My words aren't being heard or, understood correctly. Mercury is a planet of communication. It's the messenger planet. So not only like our conversations not being thoroughly understood, but things could be delayed or misread through like messages, right? Like emails, letters, packages, things like that. Things are either, not coming to light in the way that it should, or it's just not coming forward, or it's unclear, it's blurry, it's nebulous, So that's the vibe. Definitely be careful with conversations that are being had at the first week of June, and also signing any contracts, like signing anything serious the first week of June as well. Like as soon as Mercury enters Cancer, I would be careful with. If you're signing any contracts, if you're getting into anything serious, make sure like there's a lawyer or something next to you. Make sure you're dotting all your I's and crossing all your T's, and really make sure you understand what type of thing you're walking into or signing up for. On June 9th, Venus joins Jupiter in Cancer at 25 degrees. So I definitely have this starred. This is one of the best aspects of the year. The planet Venus, which is a benefic planet, and Jupiter, which is a lucky planet as well, joining each other in Cancer, where Jupiter loves being in Cancer. It does well in Cancer. It's very fertile. It's happy in Cancer. And Venus is the planet of love, abundance, opportunities, money. So when it's touching the planet of luck, it is a very lucky day. It's a very lucky time, especially in terms of relationships and money opportunities. Definitely look where Cancer rules in your birth chart to get a little bit of a deeper understanding, a sneak peek of where you could be experiencing luck in your life as well. But this is just a really nice day. This is like a once every 12-year type of transit, So definitely keep note of what's happening around this day. It's a nice time to put yourself out there, maybe go on a date, maybe ask for that raise, maybe apply to that job, hang out with those people. You don't know what kind of opportunities could be brought. This is a really lucky, nice time. I believe Venus was also touching Jupiter in Cancer in July of 2025. And this is like a twice in 1 year lucky aspect that usually only happens once every 12 years. So also maybe look at what was happening in July 2025. That could also give you another sneak peek of maybe lucky things that could be happening now. It's also a nice time to reflect on how Jupiter brought you luck throughout this year. It's a nice time to have gratitude. It could also be a nice day to manifest things of beauty, of love, of nice relationships, of money into your life too. I think this is a nice manifesting day. Really nice for the water signs if you have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces placements in the third decan. This is a lucky day for you, 100%. The next day on the 10th, Mercury in Cancer squares Saturn in Aries at 12 degrees. So this just looks like harsh conversations, mature conversations, much needed conversations that could hurt feelings, conversations about serious things. Saturn, is a planet of obstacles, frustration, karma. I think of Saturn as like that old grumpy grandpa sitting on the porch who's always grumpy, but when you actually sit down and have a conversation with him, he's actually the most wise person. He's lived a lot of life. Saturn is also likes to build foundations. It's long-term planning. It's things that last. It's hardworking. It's responsible. So these are like the types of conversations that could be had. But with that square there's some type of like hurting of the feelings of frustration of, I don't want to have this conversation right now, but you need to have the conversation, or things that are annoying that you have to have conversations about. Like what I said, Mercury in Cancer, especially with the retrograde coming up, I feel like there's going to be a lot of things like conversations that need to be had about things being fixed around the house, family relationships that need to be fixed or just ended, nostalgic things, childhood things, how you grew up, family dynamics, things like that. Pushing outside your comfort zone. Saturn in Aries is kind of like a placement that's like, do what I gotta do and put myself first and just fucking do it. And that is the complete opposite energy of how Cancer works. Cancer's always thinking about how it's gonna make other people feel, especially their family. And maybe, Cancer is all about their comfort zone too. So it's harder for Cancer to move outside their comfort zone, to move outside their neighborhood, to move outside their homeland, to move outside of what they already know. And Saturn and Aries is like, I need you to be more courageous. I need you to be more bold. I need you to trust in yourself more. I need you to go get it. And these are conversations that are probably like, fuck, like I actually have to do that, and I have to move outside my comfort zone. I have to go outside my crabby shell and come to terms with, these are the next steps of things that I have to take. These are my next steps. These are the things that I have to do. These are the things I have to put to rest. These are the things I have to get started on. But like what I said, Mercury in Cancer is very sensitive. It's a sensitive placement, emotional, but also intuitive as well. And the square to Saturn is like harsh conversations that could be hurting feelings, or just, conversations that just need to be had. And just because it needs to be had doesn't make it easy, which is interesting that this aspect is also happening under the lucky Venus-Jupiter conjunction that's happening the day before. Like on the 10th is when the aspect goes exact, but we're still feeling the energy on the lucky day of the 9th. And I'm wondering if there's some type of like, if you're trying to manifest money into your life, if you're trying to manifest love, like there's some type of needing to get real. There's some type of like hard truths that you need to come to term with. There's some type of like needing to put things to rest or doing something completely differently in order for you to really accomplish these goals or accomplish these manifestations or achieve the life that you want. There's a lot of Cancer energy that's happening right now to achieve your perfect family, to get your dream home, to get your dream future that you've always wanted. On the 12th, there's two things that are happening. First things first, Mercury enters its shadow period. This means that the Mercury retrograde storyline is happening on the 12th. So Mercury retrograde doesn't start until June 29th, but when it enters its shadow period from the 12th to the 29th, it is a time to realize and keep note what are the types of things that are happening right now and what's being brought up right now, because this is going to be important in this Mercury retrograde that's coming up. Mercury stations retrograde at 26 degrees. So it will be retrograding back to 16 degrees of Cancer. And during this time period is where you are going to be called to rework and rethink and reevaluate a lot of things. Most likely it's going to be the things that were brought up from June 12th to June 29th. So that's why I'm saying it's very important to keep note of what kind of things are being brought up. It's also important to keep note or know where Cancer is in your birth chart to kind of see maybe which area of life needs to be reworked and reevaluated. In general, Cancerian things, which is home, family, comfort bubble. On the same day, Uranus and Gemini squares the North Node in Pisces at 2 degrees. So the North Node is a point in astrology that represents our higher purpose, our higher self, our life's destiny. Uranus is the planet of unconvention, innovation, revolution. It is that androgynous friend. It's thinking outside of the box. It's an evil genius, okay? It is AI, it's robots, it's the future, it's futuristic. So the square here feels like there's a lot of disruptions that are happening. Unexpected things could be popping into your life. unexpected situations, opportunities, meetings, and it feels like you were at an odds of where you're meant to go or where you're supposed to go, if that makes sense. What this feels like to me is, so maybe you're the North Node in Pisces, you're being called to be more spiritual, right? To surrender more, to maybe be more creative. But you just lost your job unexpectedly. So now you're focused on money. How are you supposed to be the creative being that you want to be when you're focused on surviving right now because you just lost your job and you need to go look for another one? So that's the kind of like disruption that I feel like the square to the North Node by Uranus can bring. It doesn't have to be like that terrible for everybody, but that kind of feeling at odds type of feeling, like you want to pursue something or you want to move in one direction and big fucking road bump just popped your tire and you're like, shit, I have to focus on this now. That's definitely the vibe, especially Uranus just moved into Gemini, into a completely new area of life for everybody. Like, Uranus is going to shake some shit up in a completely different area of life, and we're going to start feeling it now. Wherever Gemini is in your chart, get used to it. Uranus is coming through to pop some bubbles, all right? To give you some life experience, to shake things up, to rock you, okay? And the best way to work with Uranus and Gemini is to keep an open mind and to not let it down, but to also be like, all right, maybe I have to fix this right now before I can actually focus on what I thought I wanted to focus on. There's always a bigger picture, the biggest storyline happening. So you just have to trust in the universe. On the 13th, Venus in Cancer squares Chiron and Aries at 29 degrees right before it moves into Leo. Chiron is an asteroid in astrology that is known as the wounded healer. Subconscious, deep-rooted wounds within us that we need to heal. It becomes a domino effect of healing. Once we heal these wounds, and this is why I like working with Chiron, because once you heal these subconscious deep-rooted wounds, you become an inspiration to other people wanting to heal those similar wounds that you just healed. This Venus square Chiron at 29 degrees, 29 is an critical degree in astrology. It marks a turning point. It marks an ending. So a complete new beginning can reimmerse. It reminds me of the Tower card, the destruction of an old and getting ready to walk into a new world order. That is the 29 degrees. Facing something, like it's in your face and you have to face it and you have to like really transmute this and heal this and transform this. That's why it's such a critical degree. As a transit, it is like, boom in your face, fucking deal with this right now or implode. You know, when it's the planet of love and finances making a harsh aspect to the wounded healer, it's kind of like, I don't know, it's giving mid-month. Is there a lot of relationship problems that a lot of people are going to be facing? A lot of maybe money wounds coming to surface. Venus and Cancer too, a lot of family issues, I feel like. With the Mercury and Cancer, Venus and Cancer, I feel like a lot of the first half of this month especially, but I think this summer as a whole, but especially the first half of this month, a lot of family issues and family relationships and relationships with the mother or relationships with females in your life is really in the spotlight at the surface. And the square to Chiron is like, all right, are you going to heal this? Do you want change? Do you want better? Do you want better family relationships? Do you want to build a better family for yourself? Are you going to create your dream family, your dream life, your dream house? Are you really going to do it or not? Chiron and Aries is giving identity wounds. So it's kind of like, who am I? What is my purpose? What is my standing in this life? What am I passionate about? And Venus and Cancer making a harsh square to Chiron is kind of like, are these identity wounds affecting your relationships and how you make money? And it's boom in your face, deal with it. Later in the day, Venus enters Leo and will be in Leo until July 9th. Venus in Leo is definitely a little bit more fun. It's a little bit more outgoing. It's a little bit more flirty than Venus being in Cancer. Okay, this is how I'm going to describe the Venus signs. It was Venus and Gemini. We're feeling flirty. We're feeling social. We're feeling like going on a lot of dates, and I want to date you, and I'm going to see what I like. Venus and Cancer is like, I chose someone. I'm booed up. I'm wifed up. We spend a lot of time in the home. We have our home dates with Netflix and chill, We just bought a house. We just got married. And then Venus and Leo is like the housewarming parties, right? Venus and Leo is like, let's have a house party and we just bought a new house. Let's have a house party and invite all our friends. Also a little bougie as well. Maybe you just bought a house and you're trying to decorate your house. It's a little bit more gaudy. Got like gold jewelry in my mind for whatever reason. It's nice dates, nice dinner dates, buying nice clothes, feeling good about myself. That Venus and Leo is a nice time to beautify yourself, do hair treatments, especially that, buy that nice outfit. Venus and Leo, we're feeling like that bitch, all right? So do all the things to make you feel like that bitch, all right? On the 14th, there is the new moon in Gemini happening at 24 degrees. So new moons are a time of new beginnings, planting seeds of what you want to grow and blossom over the next 6 months. So then when the full moon in Gemini happens in 6 months, all the things that you've been wanting and manifesting and planting seeds for are going to start to blossom and grow, and you're going to see and understand and enjoy the fruits of your labor from watering your seed for over the past 6 months. So definitely, look where Gemini is in your birth chart so you can get a little bit more detail oriented on what specific things you should manifest. Ruler of Gemini is Mercury. It's a good time to manifest anything within communication, socializing, networking, book publishing, writing, creating anything with your hands, podcasting, public speaking, literally any type of thing that requires communication, networking, socializing with another person. Really nice time to manifest that and plant those seeds under this new moon. I also like this new moon, and I think it's a nice like blank slate to manifest under, because this new moon is not really making any aspects. So it's almost like a blank canvas per se. I mean, there is no like encouraging aspects, but there's no bad aspects either. So it's like a blank slate, it's like really get down to the nitty gritty of what you want to bring into your life. Oh, another good way to manifest under this new moon, because Gemini is ruled by Mercury, is writing things down. Really like sit, meditate, get the journal out and really write down how you see your life in 6 months. Like really get into your mind and feel it and write it down. This is a really nice new moon to do that under. Like what I said, there's no aspects happening directly to this moon, but the ruler of this new moon is Mercury, and it's making a sextile to Mars, which is supporting. It's almost like you want to go get it. It's my mind and my body is in harmony. I'm thinking something and I'm gonna go after it. It's also giving confident conversations that go well. But Mercury is still making a square to Saturn. Mercury is moving away from Saturn. It is a little bit of a further square, but the square is still there. Harsher conversations are still being had, but I feel like they're much needed conversations for the type of long-term future that you're trying to build. Saturn, like what I said, is trying to give you longevity. It is trying to give you purpose. It's trying to give you things that last long. It will give you hard conversations and, maybe a lot on your plate, or maybe forcing you to face things or have conversations about things that you don't want to have conversations about. But it's because it's trying to clear out the clutter. It's trying to Saturn is the planet of karma. It's trying to clear this karma out so you could really build what you're trying to build right now. So keep that in mind. Like the road to trying to manifest and bring in what you want is going to require facing a lot of hard truths and having a lot of hard conversations, but much needed conversations to build a long-term foundation for yourself. On the 16th, Venus in Leo trines Neptune and Aries at 4 degrees. Also, Venus in Leo opposes Pluto in Aquarius at the same time. So over the next few days, this is the vibe. First things first, I made a note to relate what was happening the last week of August 2025 to these aspects, because last year of August 2025, during the last week, Venus was making the same aspects as well. A trine to Neptune and opposition to Pluto. If you don't know, astrology is the observation of patterns. So anytime Venus is going to be going through Leo, actually a lot of years coming up, because Neptune will be in Aries for a long time and Pluto will be in Aquarius for a long time. It is very important to keep note what is happening under these transits, because it's going to, keep coming up for you for years and years, okay? Pluto will be in Aquarius until 2043. So keep the pattern recognition on deck, okay? If you can think what was happening the last week of August 2025, did anything stick out? Definitely look in the areas where Leo, Aries, and Aquarius rules in your chart and see if any relatable things come up, mid-June. A Venus trine Neptune aspect on one side is very romantic. Venus and Leo is very romantic. Neptune is a romantic planet as well. It could bring creative pursuits. It could bring romance into your life. But the opposition to Pluto was like, there's something maybe nice and creative and romantic happening to you, but you're at the same time being pulled in an opposite direction. Like maybe like you fall in love somewhere, but you're being pulled to relocate for a job. Something is flowing, but then something is at odds at the same time. So definitely keep note as to what's happening around that time. On the 19th, this is huge. On June 19th until September, Chiron, the wounded healer, moves into Taurus. So Chiron has been in Aries since motherfucking 2019, okay? I'm over her. I'm over that hoe. We'll move into Taurus. It's going to give a little sneak peek of what Chiron in Taurus is going to look and feel like. Definitely keep note or know where Taurus rules in your birth chart, okay? It retrogrades back out of Taurus and back into Aries in September, and will be in Aries for the last time around until April 2027. And then after that is when Chiron moves into Taurus for good. So this is just a little sneak peek, but it's equally as important because it is such a vibe switch, all right? We've had Chiron in Aries for 7 years. So it's bringing a sense of more wounds that are going to be brought up to the surface of a different area of our life that we need to work on, that we need to face, that maybe have been going beneath the surface or, been trapped and locked into the subconscious for too long. Now Chiron is here, like, knock, knock, bitch. Like, here I am. These are things you need to work on. So Chiron in Taurus, I feel like it's going to bring a lot of wounds to the surface surrounding relationship and money wounds. And surrounding things of like maybe not wanting to share. This is mine. I don't want to share with you, which I feel like is going to bring a lot of a collective wound, because we're kind of moving into a society where we're being more of a collective. We're working more as a society. It's a I give and take, you give and take this. It's sharing. It's an exchange of goods and services. With Pluto and Aquarius, this is what it's going to be like. We are focusing more on working together in collectives and, taking care of our collective and moving into neighborhoods together with friends, raising our children with our friends, having our own farms, growing our own food, exchanging goods and services, like what I said, instead of money, caring more about humanitarian and activism things. This is a Pluto and Aquarius feel that we're going to be feeling for a very long time. And I think it's going to trigger the Chiron and Taurus, especially because Taurus and Aquarius make a square to each other. So this is what they're in a square about. And they're fixed signs. They're very stubborn. So this is like a harsher, square too. Because Aquarius is all about the collective. Taurus is all about what I have, what I own. Taurus don't like to share, okay? Taurus is materialistic and stingy with their own money. A lot of Tauruses be walking into this life with a lot of money wounds, scarcity wounds that they need to heal. Aquarius most of the time could give a less fuck about the monetary things, about the superficial things like that. Like Aquarius is in a whole nother world when it comes to things like that. They're more caring about like how can we help save society? Actually, how can we say fuck the system? How can we make sure that people aren't going hungry and all have jobs? You know what I mean? So that's why I feel like there's going to be this harsh wound for the collective, going from a society that was very all about capitalism and climbing the corporate ladder and worrying about building their wealth and worried about materialistic things and money things and da 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 da. Now we're moving into a society where it's like, actually, fuck all that. Like, people are going homeless, people are going hungry. This world is being too expensive to live in, to survive in. And how are we going to help ourselves? And I think also it's going to bring a lot of money wounds as well as inflation increases in this country and in this world. Like what I said, it's becoming harder and harder to survive in this materialistic world. And I think a lot of us are going to have to reshape our relationship with money and also romantic relationships as well, because Taurus is ruled by Venus. But I think a lot of these wounds are going to bring up a lot of money wounds. It's going to be a lot of scarcity mindset. Note that. But like what I said, depending where Taurus is in your birth chart will give you a little bit more insight about the types of wounds that are and will be coming up and showing for you guys. On the 21st, Cancer season starts. The sun moves into Cancer. All right. So Venus in Cancer leaves, but the sun moves into Cancer. So it's still giving crybaby. It's still giving, Mercury in Cancer is still there. It's still giving sensitive, emotional, intuitive ass bitch. It's giving, I will bake you cookies, but don't fuck with me because I'll rock you in the jaw. All right. It's giving, I want to stay home and be with my family and have a little cookout, have a little barbecue. Immediately, a day and a half later, the sun forms a nice trine to the North Node in Pisces. So I think, the sun illuminates. So when there's a nice harmonious aspect flowing to the North Node, I think this is really nice for the water signs, first of all, if you have early degrees, Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. But I think it's like a nice little insight of either you're on the right track, a sign from the universe saying that this is the direction that you need to move in, or just like a little like hug from the universe saying you're doing the right thing right now. So definitely watch for synchronicities and certain opportunities that could be brought up on the 23rd. And I think anything that is being brought up to you is a sign from the universe to move in that direction. On the 25th, Venus and Leo trine Saturn in Aries at 13 degrees. So this is another aspect that was happening the last week of August in 2025. So I noted that this is another time to note, see if you can relate anything to what was happening during the last week of August, because Venus was also trining Saturn in Aries. I like a Venus trine Saturn. It is like trying to build long-term foundation surrounding love, relationships, finances. This is a nice time to like do things like get engaged, build a future with someone. It's, the planet of love and relationships is in harmony with Saturn, which is trying to put down roots so you can grow, so you can build a legacy. Okay. So this is also a nice time to maybe ask for that raise, to apply to that new job, to get serious about how you're making money and how you're dating and how you are in relationships. And it doesn't have to be super serious. It's actually, and if it does feel serious, maybe you're just not seeing how good that is going to be in the future by you getting serious now. Also on the same day, the sun forms a square to Neptune in Aries. So there's something that feels nebulous or rose-colored glasses shattering. This is another aspect why I feel like on that day, getting serious about love or relationship or money cannot feel as flowing or good as the aspect looks on paper. Like it might not feel like it, like you're not seeing the bigger picture of what things could look like in the future or how things could flow for you. And that's because when the sun is making a square, a harsh aspect to Neptune, it's almost like we have a veil in front of our eyes. Like we're just not really seeing things or understanding things fully. We're not seeing the bigger picture. Okay. Or maybe on the flip side of things, we're seeing things through a rose colored glasses type of lens. But I really feel like it's more of a we're not seeing things clearly, or there's a rose colored glasses shattering moment that feels harsh, but it's almost like it's paving the way for a better future for you, for a more serious future for you, for a future that's going to be something that you can actually build upon and build a legacy from. So this aspect reminds me, I feel like for a lot of people, it could possibly bring like, it shattered my heart, but it cleared my vision type of vibe. If that resonates with anyone towards the end of the month, remember that, okay? On the 28th, Mars enters Gemini and will be here for 6 weeks. So Mars will be in Gemini until August 11th, okay? Mars in Gemini is bringing a little bit more movement and faster movement than Mars and Taurus. Mars is the planet of our motivations, it's our actions, it's the fire underneath us. What motivates us? What makes us get out of bed in the morning? What intrigues us? What are we passionate about? What are our sexual desires? What moves me? Like what motivates me, okay? It's action, but it also brings things of disagreements, wars, fighting, separations. So with Mars being in Taurus for the past 6 weeks, there was possibly more slower movement. It's a little bit more grounded. It's a little bit more practical. It's more realistic. It's getting our money things in order. It's moving more slowly. It's going at our own pace. Mars moving into Gemini is like, all right, I got all like the serious big girl shit out the way. Like now let me start networking. Like now actually let me like put my project out. Let me tell people about this. Let me talk to people about this. Definitely more extroverted energy. It's definitely like what motivates us is our friendships, is networking, is curiosity. It's actually going out and experiencing the thing instead of living in our comfort bubble, because Mars and Taurus is like that. Mars and Taurus, it's hard to move them outside their comfort bubble. They do things when they want to do it. Okay, there's no pushing on Mars and Taurus. But like when I said, Mars and Taurus is very responsible. It's very practical. It's like you give me an idea, Mars and Aries, I will bring it to life on this earthly plane. Mars and Taurus. Mars and Gemini is like, all right, let me broadcast this now. That's a really good thing. If there was like a project you were working on and you were like getting down to the nitty gritty things, the practical things, the responsible side of things, the money side of things, maybe you're trying to get that in order while Mars and Taurus, and now Mars enters Gemini. It's like, let me lift this up. Let me like put it in the air. Let me give it some speed, some flight, some paparazzi. I'm gonna give this some press, okay? With the Cancer season, but the Mars and Gemini, it's definitely giving a lot of home barbecues, a lot of getting together with friends. Like that is what's motivating you right now. Like that's the Cancer Gemini energy mixed in the air together. Be in the comfort of my own home with people that I love, but at the same time, like I want to throw a house party, or I want to have a board game night, or I want to, cook a different dish for you, cook a dish that I haven't ever cooked for you before, do something different, but with my partner, with my family, with my best friends. That's the thing. Like you are being fueled by curiosity, but also there's that Cancer energy in the air. It's like, I want to do it with my loved ones, with people who I trust at the same time. And with Mars and Gemini too, and then Mercury being in Cancer, this is definitely giving gossip central. Oh, hell yeah, because Mercury is going retrograde the next day too. Is giving, what's the chisme? What's the gossip? Give it to me. What's the tea? I think there's going to be a lot of gossip, a lot of people talking about each other. I think there's going to be a lot of tea coming out, maybe on the internet too, about people. This is definitely a big chit chat gossip type of aspect too. And I think it's going to bring, anytime there's Mars and Gemini, it brings a lot of verbal altercations too, because the ruler of this Mars and Gemini is Mercury. So Mars is fiery. It's It's fights, it's aggression, and the ruler being a mercurial sign like Gemini. Oh, your words are going to be cutting so deep right now. Definitely be careful with what you're saying, especially during this Mercury retrograde, because your words could start fires, okay? It could start fights. It could get you fired. It could end a relationship. All right. So definitely be careful with how you're speaking right now. I think there's going to be a lot of people I think there's just going to be a lot of verbal. Yeah, the next day, Mercury stations retrograde in Cancer at 26 degrees and will be retrograde until July 23rd. So from June 29th till July 23rd, Mercury retrograde things. It's time for reevaluating, rethinking, reassessing, reflecting. Not the best time to start any new projects. Not the best time to sign any contracts, to commit to serious things. Mercury retrograde in Cancer, a good time to reevaluate family relationships, to reevaluate who you consider your family. Doesn't have to be blood either. Could be your best friends. Cancer looks at their best friends like their family too. So when I'm saying family, note that I also mean like your best friends, like people who are in your family circle. I think a lot of people are going to have to fix things around their house. A lot of things are going to break down around the house. There's going to be a lot more focus, I feel like, on things around the house, but also conversations about fixing things around the house, conversations about fixing family relationships. I think this could bring a lot of arguments and verbal altercations with families, within families. It's making you reevaluate. These could be things that's making you reflect upon your childhood, your upbringing. That's a big just Mercury and Cancer thing, period, let alone a Mercury and Cancer retrograde. A lot of us are going to be thinking about our childhood, about our upbringing. This is a very nostalgic time. I also feel like because we're feeling extra nostalgic because of this transit and because Venus is in Leo, and Venus in Leo is definitely known to spin the block. I feel like Venus and Leo people don't get this reputation, but they are so loyal. Like Leo in general, they are loyal to a fault where they will be so obsessive over an ex they've had years ago. And when I say loyal, I mean you're loyal to your own obsessive tendencies, that you've loved someone once in your life and you're possessive over them even if it was 10 years ago. So I think with the obsessiveness that Venus and Leo can bring over lovers or past lovers, in combination with this nostalgic time to feel, and then just the recklessness and the do it for the plot nature of the Mars and Gemini, I feel like this is going to be a Mercury retrograde season that's going to be bring a lot of exes coming back, or you reaching out to an ex or an ex reaching back to you. All right. Oh, no, just how I feel. Anytime there's a planet going retrograde in Cancer, it's giving extra nostalgia. And what happens when we're feeling nostalgic? We're hitting up our exes. Okay. We're hitting up our exes, or we're hitting up just ex people who meant a lot to us in the past. So I definitely feel like that is going to happen as well. If you have the cardinal placements from and around 26 to 16 degrees of the cardinal signs, Cancer, Capricorn, Aries, Libra, this Mercury retrograde is going to affect you guys the most, and if you are a Virgo or Gemini rising, your ruling planet is Mercury. Anytime Mercury goes retrograde, it unfortunately affects you guys the most. Don't shoot the messenger. It is what it is. It's just what it is, and it is what it is. Definitely keep note for that. If you have any of those placements as well, you could definitely be feeling the effects of this Mercury retrograde the most. Like what I said, retrogrades are a time of resting. One of the reasons that I fell in love with astrology is because it gives me the reminder of the seasons of what life is. And we're not always meant to be on the go, go, go and, in this hustle and bustle type of mentality. There are seasons of life where we have to kind of just relax and let ourselves relax, and to just surrender to the time of life that we're in. So anytime Mercury is retrograde, I allow myself to rest a little bit. It's not the time to really, work yourself to the ground. It's the time to reconnect with yourself, to reconnect with family. This is especially happening in Cancer, during Cancer season, to reconnect with your loved ones, to appreciate the rent that you're spending, the money, the rent, the mortgage, to appreciate your rent and your mortgage, okay? It is a time to put a lot more love into your house, into your living situation, to make your house a home. That is how I feel about this Mercury retrograde in Cancer. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to bring up about it. But also what's interesting is on the same day, there's a full moon in Capricorn happening at 8 degrees. So I think it's just interesting that this Mercury retrograde is directly opposing this full moon in Capricorn. It's kind of like it's setting the tone for a messy Mercury retrograde. Like, I don't know. Like, I just feel like this Mercury retrograde is going to be messy. And I don't say that about every Mercury retrograde. We be having 3 to 4 Mercury retrogrades a year. Okay. Not all of them are really that bad. I feel like this one is just going to be messy, okay? Like, stay with your people, okay? Stay in your house. Enjoy your rent, all right? Make a nice home-cooked meal. Cry it out. Go talk to a therapist. I think a lot of people are going to appreciate therapy during this time, too. Cry it out. Oh, my God. I feel like there's going to be a lot of tears. Siri plays Summertime Sadness by Lana Del Rey, okay? All right, full moon in Capricorn happening on the same day. Full moons illuminates. Right? Think about what a full moon looks like in the sky. It illuminates us down on earth. So usually full moons illuminate things that were once hidden. It brings to light a lot. It brings a lot up to the surface. And that's why a lot of full moons get the rep of, or full moons in general just get the rep of being a very chaotic time. Emotions are being heightened. Full moons pull on the tides and on the oceans, on the water, What makes you think it's not pulling on the waters inside our human bodies? It is. That's why our emotions are heightened as a collective. All humans experience it on this earth, and that's why full moons get the rep of being crazy. Okay, so also full moons are a culmination of events of whatever was started and whatever you manifested 6 months prior. So the new moon in Capricorn happened on January 18th, 2026. So if you can think what was started or what you manifested on that date or around that date, so mid-January 2026, you can start to see things come into fruition now. Things are starting to make sense. The pieces to the puzzle are forming, okay? Things are clicking. Or you're just like appreciating the fruits of your labor, okay? So this full moon in Capricorn is forming a square to Saturn in Aries. It's a little bit further, all right? It has a 6-degree orb, but it's still there. I think it is not like in your face going to make this harsh, but it's not fully in the background. It's still there. It's still affecting the collective. It's also making a square to Neptune in Aries at 4 degrees. This full moon is going to bring a shattering of a glasses of a sort. I think it's going to bring harsh things to the surface. A moon square Saturn aspect is, especially in Capricorn, a Capricorn lunation is not, they do not like being emotional. They will bury their feelings, all right? I have a Capricorn moon, so I can speak upon this. Capricorn moons be feeling a lot, but they're just like, I don't have time for these tears. I got work to do. I got to keep myself busy. Crying makes me feel like a pussy. I don't want to deal with this right now. So that's like, it's harder for Capricorn moons to kind of understand what they're even going through because they don't allow themselves to feel it. The square to Saturn, I think, is going to be like, fuck, I don't want to deal with this, but I have to. Like that, and that's what makes it frustrating, right? I think it's going to bring some serious topics. I think it's going to bring some frustrating things, some obstacles, especially because Mercury retrograde is starting too. I think there's going to be some obstacles happening. With that square to Neptune, I think it's just going to bring like a shattering moment, and that brings something forward that feels very harsh and frustrating or serious. It's almost like a needing to grow up or needing to get serious about something. I don't know. That's just what it feels like. The ruler of this full moon is Saturn, and Saturn is also making a trine to Venus still. So that is an aspect that, softens the blow of the seriousness under this full moon. Like what I said, I feel like the theme during the second half of this month is it shattered my heart, but it opened my eyes. And I think that is something to remember under this full moon in Capricorn. Another thing that I noted too under this full moon is very interesting, because when I was like, reflect on what was started around the new moon in Capricorn in January, it was like a whole different life. Where we're at, where we're going to be in June and July 2026 is going to feel like a completely different reality, a completely different lifetime than even as short as January 2026. And I say this because during the new moon in Capricorn, Saturn was in Pisces, Uranus was in Taurus, Neptune was in Pisces. All the outer planets, which is generational planets, it rules generations and affects societies of people, three of them were in a different sign. 6 months later, Saturn is in Aries, Uranus is in Gemini, Neptune is in Aries. It's almost like it could feel emotional under this full moon too, because it's growing pains. We are literally walking into a completely different era, okay? A completely different life, new chapter. So I think a lot of it could be growing pains too, of needing to get serious about something, needing to confront something, a realization of more responsibility, of new era of life. But know that Saturn trine Venus aspect is really supporting, telling that there's a bigger storyline happening. That get through this hard shit right now and level up, get a little bit more serious, babe. Because we're building long-term wealth for you. We're building long-term relationships for you. We're building a legacy for you. And you might not see it now, but I need you to trust that that's what's happening. That's what's in the work right now. I need you to lock in. I need you to get serious. Okay? So that's the vibe. The next day, Jupiter enters Leo. This is a big one. Because Jupiter was in Cancer for a year. So Jupiter enters Leo. Jupiter is a planet of luck, abundance, opportunities. Okay? It's a lucky planet. And it's going to be there until July 26, 2027. So get used to this energy. Get used to the area of your life that Leo rules, because Jupiter is coming around. It's going to bring a lot of blessings. Me talking about Jupiter and Leo is a completely different video, but Jupiter is about to get ready to bless the area of life that Leo rules in your chart. It's going to give you a lot of abundance there, or it's going to expand that area of your life. For example, if you have a Leo 4th house, you could be literally moving into a bigger house. If you have a Leo 5th house, you could be having more children. If you have a Leo 6th house, you could be getting a lot more work on your plates. You have a Leo 7th house, you are bringing a lot more partnerships into your life. Are you catching my drift? That is a way that Jupiter expands. So, but definitely, shake hands and get friendly with the Leo area in your chart, because it's going to be bringing a lot more luck into your life, okay? So that is it that I have for you guys for this horoscope. Like always, let me know if anything resonates with you guys. Let me know how these aspects are coming into fruition and manifesting in real life for you guys. I'm very curious. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up if you're watching the YouTube version. If you're listening on Apple or Spotify, please give me a little review, a little 5-star. Get my podcast up there for me. I would really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys for listening. So thank you again, and I will see you in the next episode. Kisses.